Distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to address this year's Rally of Hope, an important annual event sponsored by the Universal Peace Federation. It is one in a series of such virtual gatherings that brings together heads of state, parliamentarians, faith leaders, business executives, and academics from over 140 nations around the world. Its purpose is clear and noble: to foster a dialogue aimed at the peaceful resolution of differences, a dialogue that could lead to a much better world. I also commend the Federation for creating Think Tank 2022, a global expert working group to address the reunification of Korea. I also want to recognize and thank Dr. Moon, who founded the Washington Times with her late husband and continues her work today with the Universal Peace Federation. I understand she is focusing her energy on healing the great conflicts of our time, while also working to help strengthen America's role in the world. She has made it her life's work to see an enduring and peaceful reconciliation between North and South Korea. I'm sure that's a vision shared by many. Achieving that future begins with a strong partnership between the United States and South Korea. Ours is an enduring alliance, one built on shared values, mutual interests, common histories, integrated economies, social networks, and deep family connections. The ties between Washington and Seoul are strong, but nothing can match the bonds between our peoples. And unlike the Berlin Wall, the demilitarized zone still cuts across the Korean Peninsula, unnecessarily dividing a great people. The challenge of North Korea has been with us now for decades, but despite its terrible history, we should never lose hope or stop working toward a permanent, peaceful end to this conflict, one that begins with a complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the North. Despite our efforts in the past, Pyongyang has built a formidable military with nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles that can reach South Korea, Japan, and even the United States. Yet, unlike before, these last few years actually saw enough progress to give us some hope. While we didn't end the North's nuclear and missile programs or curtail its bad behaviors, we did see them halt their testing of long-range missiles and nuclear devices. Credit for this goes to leaders and diplomats from both our countries, those who were willing to meet with Chairman Kim Jong-un in a quest for security and peace. I was honored to play a part in these efforts, albeit ensuring that the United States engaged from a position of strength, that the readiness and capability of our military would bolster our diplomats, and that we were prepared to defend ourselves and our South Korean allies should things go badly. It is my hope that both our countries continue this important work together. It is important not just to the security and stability of the Korean Peninsula and Northeast Asia, but also for the peoples on both sides of the DMZ. Together, the United States and its allies will win this contest like we did the Cold War, by defending our principles, our beliefs, and our liberties. I was honored to serve my country and these values over a professional lifetime, first as an Army officer, and most recently as the United States Secretary of the Army and Secretary of Defense. Over the last few years, I visited South Korea often and traveled up and down the peninsula to meet with our troops, visit our bases, and spend time with our allies. I also hosted my South Korean counterparts at the Pentagon for intensive discussions during my tenure. Our focus was always the same: improve our readiness, strengthen the alliance, deter North Korean aggression, work to resolve issues with Pyongyang, and focus on the growing challenge of China. As in the past, so too in the future, a strong and ready military, one embedded in a network of alliances and partnerships, will be critical in this new era of great power competition that is now upon us. This was the Reagan doctrine of peace through strength. Though the world is deeply challenged, especially in Northeast Asia, I remain hopeful and optimistic. I never thought the Cold War would end, but it did. I never thought Eastern Europe would be free, but it is. I never thought Israel and Arab nations would come together, but they are doing just that. And I never thought that an American president would meet with the leader of North Korea, but that happened too. The Abraham Accords are an example of what can be achieved when leaders think big, aim high, and work hard. We need that same spirit and attitude in our dealings with Pyongyang and Beijing. Allow me to wrap up by saying that times of crisis often tend to be the moments of greatest opportunity. Such periods, though, demand great leaders and great leadership, the type that brings people together, that appeals to ideas far bigger than our current differences, and that inspires us to work together in common cause on behalf of peace, freedom, and justice. The world is at an historical inflection point today. We have entered a new era of great power competition. It is time for leaders all around the world, including those participating in this Rally of Hope, to step up, speak up, and stand firm. I'm confident the United States of America will do its part and continue to lead, and that we will do so hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder with our allies and partners around the world. Together, we will address the epic challenges before us and achieve our shared goals of preserving the peace and protecting our freedoms. Thank you.